Welcome to the Marriage Buzz channel, where we help singles prepare for vibrant, truthful relationships and couples put the honey back in theirs. We bring you today's hottest topics and people in the areas of love and marriage, all designed to help you create and sustain your most important relationship. I'm very excited to have with me today one of my very special friends, fellow coach, and a self-love soulmate, Catherine Hummel. We were both born on July 6th, too, so we have an extra special bond. For those of you who do not know her yet, Catherine is a yoga teacher, a Reiki practitioner, a life coach extraordinaire, and a lover of life whose mission is to help you get your spark back or find it for the very first time. And she facilitates women's circles each month in Boston and leads women's retreats on the East Coast. Catherine is a heart-centered self-love expert and brings joy and enthusiasm to all her activities, especially when coaching her clients. Today she'll be focusing on the topic of self-love and why it's so essential to our personal health and wellness, in addition to the health of our love relationships. So let's jump right in with my special guest. Welcome, Catherine, to the Marriage Buzz channel.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you're very welcome.
I'm so excited to be here.
Good. And how are you doing today?
Fantastic.
Good. You look fantastic.
Thank you.
Good.
Thank you. Super grateful for our connection and the ability to share my experience.
Great. Me too. So what's going on? What's new and exciting in your world?
What's new and exciting in my world? Well, the beginning of summer, I got a nice new flow of clients that came my way.
Wow.
So lots of one-on-one right now, and I am building an online course to be released in September.
It's exciting.
A retreat's coming up in October.
Cool.
I'm really excited to be on this interview right now.
Me too. Good.
And I am madly in love. So that
really?
happened.
Wow.
That happened this summer too.
Okay. I hope we're going to hear something about that.
You absolutely will.
Okay, cool. All right, well, let me get right to the to the beginning. How did you become a coach? What made you decide to, bring your voice out and share your gifts with all of us?
How did I become a coach? I really believe that this process started a long time ago. I think most coaches come into this work. I hope that they have experienced their own personal transformation, and that's what they want to share with others, because that is what happened to me. I underwent a really powerful personal transformation. I went from feeling lost, lonely, disconnected, afraid, and depressed on a fairly daily basis to ridiculously joyful and proud and feeling in love whether I have a partner or not, and and super excited about my life. And so because of that transformation, I knew that what I wanted to do for the rest of my life was help others who may have felt the way that I did once.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Hey, listen, that's, it sounds similar. I think we all come to this at some point in our own path after feeling like we've been through so much and traveled such a long road. We must be able to help someone else with this information. So I am glad you did. And,
me too.
I know your clients are.
Thank you.
So what is self-love? And I know a lot of people know what it is. They think they know what it is. Some people have never heard the expression. Certainly in our circles it's big, but a lot of people who will be watching this interview may have never heard self-love and certainly don't know what it is. So why don't you give us a little bit of, what is it in your life?
My favorite topic.
Okay.
There's about 10,000 books written on this. and there was a time in my life when I had absolutely no idea what it was, or I thought that it was hokey. And what I believe is that my personal transformation occurred when I went from essentially drinking alcohol every single day to not drinking at all. And the moment that I decided to stop drinking was not a moment when my whole life bottomed out. At the time, I was an athlete. I looked amazing. I had friends in my life that loved me. I had a partner, had a supportive family, and was on my way to graduate school. But the way that I felt inside about myself was what was eating me up in a way that nothing else was. So in that moment, I knew that it wasn't the outside things that made us happy. It was how we felt about ourselves.
Wow.
So I became a self-love coach so I could help people understand that you can live life from the inside out, that you could be happy with yourself first.
Wow.
So self-love to me, one, is an understanding of who you are. So who we are is love. That's what we are. And so when I live from that centered place, knowing that that's what I am, I'm much more peaceful. I'm happier because I'm no longer chasing anything outside of myself.
Yep.
And how I teach self-love in my 21 Days to Self-Love journey and through my one-on-one coaching program is that it's really only 3 parts. Number 1 is self-care. Mm-hmm. So how I treat myself and how I spend my time and how I care for myself is part 1. Part 2 is self-acceptance. So coming from a place of I accept what has happened to me, I accept who I am, what I look like without trying to be anything other than who I am. Mm-hmm. And step 3, part 3, is self-expression, which really was the key piece for me. And that is that I am free to say what I want, be who I am, dress how I want, dance, sing, laugh, play. That last piece is the personal freedom of self-love. And if you had told me 5 years ago that I'd be singing on my Facebook to random strangers and on YouTube, I wouldn't have believed you. And so it is that, like, giving ourselves permission to be seen in the world. So those are the 3 things: self-care, self-acceptance, and self-expression.
You know, it's a beautiful definition and very robust, obviously packed full of juicy nuggets for our audience. It sounds like from the outside you had everything. You know, you were describing this athletic life and school and looks and the boyfriend and your friend group, and so I'm sure so many people out here will be saying, wow, you know, either that's the life I thought I wanted, that's what I'm trying to get right now. Mm-hmm. And what she's saying basically is when she arrived at that place, she was more incomplete than she is today. Mm-hmm. And I think that this is across the board. A lot of us think we want something and need something, and then once we get it, we get there. And if we don't have this self-love element, we really are going to find that we're very empty. And then we're going to try to fill it with a substance or food or sex or credit cards or a million other things. Mm-hmm. And I think what you are saying is we probably come into this world and the place you were at, it was already there. You just either have to find it, rediscover it, you know, open your eyes to it. There's a remembering. Or why did you decide to coach to self-love?
Because, so I first want to say too that I'm a coach, right? So there's nothing wrong with having dreams and goals and desires and wants in the world. Like, I love when my clients come and I'm here because this is what I want.
Yeah.
Why I coach to self-love is because if I helped people to get what they want, but their self-worth was attached to them getting it, then I am doing a tremendous disservice to someone. That what I do first in my program is actually first focus on what your starting point is. That's what I like to call it. What's your starting point when you wake up in the morning? If your starting point is I'm not enough, then you're going to spend the whole day chasing and seeking things outside of yourself to make you happy and to fulfill you. If you wake up in the morning and your starting point is I am enough, that doesn't then mean that you'll sit around and do nothing all day. It's you're going to feel so full, which is what I feel, that I have more energy to go after the things that I want in my life. And it's a lot more fun along the way than if I felt like I was not worthy and not enough. Usually the journey to getting what I want when that's my starting point is pretty miserable and really hard. And one of the most important messages that I share with people is exactly it doesn't have to be so hard. And that was one of the awakenings and transformational moments that I had on my path over the past 5 years, is why do I have to I don't have to try so hard. It doesn't have to be so hard.
Yeah, and I think when people come to coaching, or when they even start to think about any kind of improvement program, they think it's going to be hard work.
Right.
It's going to be harder than not improving, or not finding the answers to my questions. So that's a beautiful way to put it. It can actually be easier to get this work done and to improve ourselves than to be miserable and just think, well, change is going to be worse. So that's a very enlightening piece right there. That's terrific.
When what you want is more important than what you're afraid of, then it will become easy.
Good one. Why do you think people struggle with self-love?
The simple, short answer is because it's not taught to us. And what's actually taught and the messages that we experience in the world is exactly the opposite. And what I think is really beautiful is understanding that we all were children once. And when we come into the world as newborn babies, we do not have a consciousness that tells us that we're separate, or we're less than, or we're not good enough, or we're not worthy. I love kids. I can't wait to be a mom. I have babysat my entire life, and they're amazing, right? They don't wonder about whether they look funny when they go out in the world, or whether what they're going to say is inappropriate. They don't wonder about whether they love themselves. They just do.
Yeah.
And one of the most important things to remember about love is we don't need to learn how to love. We need to unlearn all of the ways in which we've blocked ourselves from it, which is what happens along the way. I show up to school, and now I'm being graded on my work. And I learn about being a good or bad person. And then I watch a commercial that tells me that unless I buy this product, I'm not going to be beautiful. Right. Or as a man, unless I, wear these clothes, I'm not going to be cool. And then unless I have a partner, I mean nothing in the world.
Yeah. Yep.
So that's why we struggle with it, is because it's not a part of our life. But I also feel that we struggle with it because sometimes that may appear to be easier. It may be easier to stay miserable and to sit in a group with my girlfriends and talk about how all men suck and why life is so hard, rather than sitting in a circle and talking about how much joy we have in our lives. And that's what I get to do today. And my friends, it's really beautiful, the circles that I have created, where it's just complaining is not allowed. Like, it's just not allowed. We don't get off on that.
I have something
anymore.
Here. I'll show you this. I just saw this the other day.
Go 24 hours without. Yay! Yes. Yes, I
Give
love
that to the audience.
I love that. Yeah.
I got that.
Joy.
Yep,
Joy is our natural state. And that's why the self-expression piece of self-love is so important to me.
So you're saying that the people we hang out with could make a difference?
You are the 5 people that you spend the most time with, period. Wow. I mean, that's the message in the personal growth world. I believe it was Tony Robbins who said that, who maybe even had heard it from someone else.
Yeah.
But you absolutely will become like the 5 people you spend the most time with.
He got it from Johnny Carson.
Yeah.
That's what Johnny Carson said.
Yeah.
That's why he used to hang out with Ed McMahon.
I believe it. I believe it. And it doesn't mean, this could be a whole conversation in and of itself, right? Like cutting all these people out of your life, but recognizing, and this is part of self-love, valuing your time. That's really the self-care piece. We all have 24 hours in a day. So how I spend my time is directly related to how I feel about myself. Do I spend 15 hours on Facebook, or do I spend 15 hours in communication with other people and taking care of myself?
Yep.
And so when I value myself, then I actually pay attention to who is around me and valuing them and valuing my time. And so it becomes easier to find the positive, happy people. Because I also believe in helping one another.
Yeah, I find if I spend some time nourishing someone else, all of a sudden I become nourished, and other people come into my world
To
that
nourish you.
nourish me. So it's totally, and that leads me to my next question. What are some of the things that you think we can do to bring more self-love into our own lives?
I am so grateful for the amount of help that absolutely exists out there for people wanting to begin a path. There are YouTube videos, there's 10,000 self-help books, there are workshops, and really the moment that you decide you want to love yourself is the moment that you begin to love yourself. And why my path has been so powerful is because I wanted to love myself. That's all I thought about. And so I looked at what was in front of me to figure out how to do that. Found other teachers, surrounded myself with the people, and learned from people who were teaching about self-love. So the simple answer, like the thing that you can do today is say to yourself, I want to start doing things differently. I want to love myself. You have begun loving yourself in that moment. Part two is to seek teachers, find books, talk to other people who may be already living that path, right? Like, what did you do? What workshops did you go to? What books did you read? Hire a life coach. Best decision I ever made. And then you get to begin implementing practices. And that's what the coaching is. And that's what the books are all about. Or here is how. Saying affirmations is one of the most powerful tools that exists. And really it's recognizing that it's a path. And one of my teachers said to me once, it's more important to travel well than to arrive. And I keep that perspective even as someone who really loves herself, knowing that this is a journey that I'm on, that I'll never get to a point where everything's perfect and now I've got it going on. Self-love is a decision I make every day. And really my coaching business started 2 years ago and was called Second Chance Coaching.
Love that
Because
name.
while I believe I was given a second chance at my life through my getting sober, I called it Second Chance Coaching because there are 86,400 seconds in a day. And the premise was it only takes 1 second to turn your life around.
Wow, that's a
So
profound metaphor for making that change. Every second we can change.
because it took 1 second for me to stop drinking.
Yeah.
It took 1 second for me to decide I wanted to love myself. It can take someone who's listening right now 1 second to call you, to call me, to end a relationship, to end a job, to look at someone and say, it's not okay for you to treat me that way.
Yeah.
1 second to say, I'm now going to take a bath and spend some time with myself. And that's, again, it doesn't have to be so hard. It doesn't have to be so hard. It's decisions that I make every single day that contribute to my self-love.
Wow. Well, I think, again, I'll say thank you for all of those great ideas, and the most profound one is every second we have a chance to make that change. So that's amazing. So now we're going to get to the juicy part.
Yay!
All right, we're going to talk about how did you attract the relationship you are in right now? Because I've heard a little bit, but now I guess we're going to hear more about manifestation.
Yeah.
And manifestation in this case.
Yeah, magic. There are so many people who brand themselves and market themselves as the attract your soulmate person. And so for anyone who's listening, and I really want to say that all of these paths, it's not about one person saying what's true. It's about you getting to ask yourself what's true for me. That's how you find a teacher, is who do I resonate with and what's true for me. So the path on how I have become in the most extraordinary relationship that I could have imagined was really a couple things. And the most important one is really doing the healing work. Because that was it. I have yet to meet anyone who has had a perfect childhood where they received everything that they need.
Yep.
Most of us experience some wounding as children.
Yeah.
And without doing healing around that, which is a huge part of what I do in my coaching, without doing healing around that, the relationships that you will attract will continue to be the pattern of what happened as a child. So you will attract your parent.
Totally right.
Essentially.
Totally right.
And so that is number one. You can do all the manifestation stuff in the world. I don't want to swear. All the stuff in the world. And if you don't do healing, if you don't do healing work, it won't matter. You can jump up and down and say affirmations all you want about relationship without getting clear on your love pattern. It really won't. It won't come. And so that was number one, because I have healed and now I've attracted someone who's loving me completely differently than my parents ever did. So I know that I did it right now.
Yeah.
And then part two was through the healing is coming into self-love. And what self-love looks like is knowing that nothing is missing. And I was able through loving myself come to a place of knowing that I have everything that I need and accessing my own love. And from that place, I became magnetic to men. I went on a lot of dates before meeting Andrew, and we are attracted to the people who seem full. And I imagine it's super sexy to a man to find a woman that he knows isn't going to suck him dry and isn't desperate for his love, and that will actually just really enjoy him and celebrate him and love him.
Yep.
Right? Then there's fireworks.
Yeah.
So that's part two. Part three is actually coming into the practice of feeling what it's like to be in love on a daily basis, because there is nothing outside of ourselves. So my friends know, and many of them said it once I started dating Andrew, they said, Catherine, I know that you've already been in love for the past several years. So I would wake up in the morning and actually, with my hands on my heart, sit in my bed and feel like I was in love without needing the partner to be there, because no one is responsible for making you feel anything. And actually, they can't make you feel anything.
Yeah.
So that's on you. So that's part three. And then part four, which I do believe many women struggle with. I'm sure men do too. But the part four was really claiming what I wanted without any reservation. And so I did meet Andrew online, and essentially my profile was, this is who I am and this is what I want. And I attracted a man who said, this is who I am and this is what I want. And it was in perfect alignment. And the women in my life that are still struggling to find a relationship, and just what I'm watching in the world, is one, an unwillingness to claim who you are, and two, an unwillingness to claim what you want. So a lot of, well, I don't know if I want to have kids. I don't know.
I think a lot of people are afraid.
Gotta claim it.
A lot of people are afraid to commit to any of these things because they don't want to deter the next person from wanting them. If you say I want A, B, and C, and that person doesn't want B, well, I can do away with B. I don't really need B. I don't really need C.
It breaks my heart.
Yeah, I know.
There's a big difference.
It's a house negotiation.
Yeah. Lauren Smith is a relationship coach. She's one of my really good friends, and this is her line that changed my life. She said it to me. I will owe her a lot of my healing work to be able to bring Andrew into my life. And she said, Catherine, there's a big difference between asking for what you want versus asking for what you think you're going to get. And the reason, Andrew is the most extraordinary man I have ever known. There is nothing more that I want from him, and there is nothing that I would change about him. And it's because I got really clear that it was more important to me to have what I wanted than the desperation of, I'll just take crumbs off the table. Yeah. And I did that. I did that for a very long time. I'll take what I think I can get rather than asking for it to line up in every way. And my friends say when they date, they hear my voice in the back of their head. There are 7 billion people in the world. billion.
Wow.
You don't have to settle. Like, you will find the
Yeah.
person that can line up with you,
But I
right? It's
want,
about
I want them
patience.
now.
Yeah, and
I want them
that
today.
energy, right? I want it right now. The energy you'll attract will then leave you unsatisfied for decades,
Wow. Mm.
and I'm so excited to live into a woman who loves herself and now live into someone who's in a relationship that's extraordinary so that I can be the mirror for people of what's possible. As a coach, I don't tell people what to do. It's not my job to tell you what to do. How I coach is I want you to come into, oh my gosh, this is what's true for me. This is who I am. Now I know how to trust myself. And so I support people on a journey of their own personal discovery. So what works for me might not work for you. That's fine.
Yep.
I would much rather you be able to say that to me than think that I'm your guru and you're going to do it my way. And so I want to just be a mirror for what's possible, because 5 years ago, I was drinking every day and I hated myself. And today I am on top of the world pretty much every day. Pretty much every day.
So to sum it up, what would be the one thing that you did to attract this relationship?
It is loving myself. Because he said to, and he actually said to me, I have never met a woman who loves herself as much as you do. And I can't tell you how ridiculously turned on I am
Yep,
by
yep,
it.
yep. That is good. That is good.
So, and
So,
and when I'm full, his energy, he wants to give more.
yeah,
Right? It's
it's a
like we each
perpetual,
are from a place of fullness, just cycling through,
yeah,
because I know that he is only giving to me what I have given to myself, because that's the only way it works. So each time he loves me, it's because I know I love myself. And he loves himself, which is
good
also
stuff.
equally the most sexy thing I've ever seen.
Good stuff.
So,
Wow, beautiful.
yeah. We'll have
So
to get him on an interview.
I would. So what would your message be for women who are searching for a relationship?
One, you are so worthy and deserving of everything that you desire. And two, you must become aware that you are already full and nothing is missing. That's the message.
Boy,
And
amen to that.
the second that you arrive there, because even though I've done all this work and I loved myself, but I went to Hawaii in May and there was a full integration, and I was able to write a song from my heart. And it was that in that moment I knew that I had everything. So I was in Hawaii May 5th through 11th.
Hmm.
I met Andrew on June 3rd.
Wow, boy,
It's that when you know that you have everything, you can have a desire, but not a need. When the need is no longer there, it
good
will happen.
stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff. Wow, that is beautiful. And does he say similar things? Did it happen for him a similar way?
He's had really, really tough relationships, actually.
Yeah.
And he's been single for the past year, which I find super attractive also, someone who's capable of being single.
Hmm.
And this was a man who also knew what he wanted. So he is not a player. He did not sleep around. He didn't date people just to date. For 1 year, he held his standard for what he wanted. First 6 months was about recovering from his breakup. And the second 6 months was loving himself and going online and really waiting for the person who matched up. He went on, I think, 2 dates before me, and that was it. So the message to men is set standards for yourself,
Yeah.
right? We all have to come into I am full. We are all deserving of the best for you, right? Andrew is the best for me, and it's really, really the standard, and the not chasing, and the not seeking outside of yourself, And really, the minimum of love is respect. That's the minimum of love. So respecting yourself enough with your own self-love to not mess around with people who are not good for you.
Yeah, as you keep on going further and further and further and deeper and deeper and deeper, I just keep hearing self-love
It is.
be the root of this whole area. And quite frankly, we could be talking about almost any area of our lives. In addition to relationships, we could be talking about family and careers and our own spirituality, our own journey. And I just keep hearing the root of all of that.
It is.
Happiness and success in all of these areas comes from loving yourself first, believing in yourself, trusting yourself. I love the way you put it. It's not what you need as much as it is, knowing what you want and then going after that. So big difference. And so
Self-love is the key. That's why it's my favorite thing to talk about. It's what my whole awakening has been, and really we all know how to love ourselves. The only block is the voice that tells you you don't. It's just in your head. You can begin loving yourself in this moment right now when that voice starts saying, you're not good enough, you're ugly, or whatever, and just going, stop, stop.
yeah, I can't help but go back to something I heard many years ago. When I first got into sales, we were doing a lot of, motivational work, and it was always about who you hung out with, what you read,
Yeah.
and your own self-talk. And I can't say enough for hanging around nourishing people, and it's a habit. This
Yeah.
is a practice, like any other thing we become good at. You have to say something the first day. You have to, that first second, say something that you might not know that well or fully believe or trust, but it's no different than saying the things that you've been saying that are really not true either, which is, I'm not good enough, I'm not enough.
Mhm.
Neither of those are right, but yet we have no problem saying that every day. So,
Right.
so certainly I think that it could be said that it's just as easy to love yourself and have exactly what we're describing on this call.
Yep.
It's just as easy as what you're already doing if you're not there yet. So it doesn't have to be hard.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be hard.
Terrific stuff.
Life is about joy and fun. We're
Yep.
supposed to be having fun.
Yep. I am having fun. So I don't know about you, but
I'm having a blast.
I'm wondering I'm wondering if we can somehow help our audience to have fun with this. So is there anything that we could come up with to make the information that we are sharing today even more fun for people? Is there a way to get them to not be so serious about this? Because there are going to be some people who are watching this call who are feeling some heaviness right now from this. Because if they're not there yet, it can be heavy. So is it safe to say that on the way to self-love, if we're not there yet, that we could have fun on the way to it?
That it's more important to travel well than to arrive.
Okay, good. I like that one. So
And
in translating that,
yeah,
I would say that anybody who is watching this call and is not there yet and feels far away from it, maybe what we should do is invite them to connect with you
yes, please.
and
Come
just
on over.
have a quick conversation or an email or a message of some sort, and kind of get that hand up to the next step, just so maybe they could have a little support
Of
to begin
course.
the conversation in their own mind, in their own life.
My website has a link for my free consultation, so you can schedule that right online. So it's 45
Cool.
minutes of chatting with me. And I also knew that who you surround with yourself with is the most important thing, which is why I'm creating a community. So my women's circle is called Sisters of the Heart.
Hmm.
We meet in Boston in person, but there's also an online Facebook group where women are from all over the world posting in there. So
Cool.
when they travel to the West Coast, they write, "Is any Sisters of the Heart live in San Francisco?" And they
Cool.
meet up.
Good.
And so every woman is welcome into that. I am starting to coach men, which is super
Good.
fun. I have branded myself as a women's coach, but more and more men are finding me. And a dream is to start a co-ed circle,
Yeah.
which I think could be really powerful. And
Hmm.
so absolutely come on over and find me on Facebook. I post a lot of videos and fun tools constantly on how to shift your perspective and really I am the love girl, but also the joy.
Well, I found that your website was not only warm and inviting, it was very welcoming, it was very professional, it was fun. So it kind of it made me feel um, like even though some of these subjects could be heavy in someone's life right now, that it only takes a second, obviously, as we said, a second chance, and you can make that change. So I'd like to thank you, Catherine, for joining me today. It was just beautiful and nourishing our audience with your loving gifts. And Catherine can be found at her beautiful website, as I just mentioned, which is www.catherine with a C,
Hmm.
Catherine-Hummel, HUMMEL.com. And when we post this video, we will put the link on it. So we'll embed the link so everyone will be able to see how they can find you.
Thank you so much. It is an honor and privilege to be able to share my story and to know you.
You too.
So thank you.
All right. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye.